This Racing Life with Albasti Equiworld, the leading supplier of horse feeds and supplements.
There isn't a much more reliable set of hands in the training business than James Fanshawe. They all come the same to him: sprinters, stayers, flat horses, jumps horses. He's seen them all in a career that dated back to 1990. Now back then, his son Tom wasn't even in nursery. However, the apple was never going to fall far from the tree, and last year the family enjoyed their best season numerically and financially.
And it's Kind of Blue on the near side of Swing Along. Kind of Blue the leader. Bovate trying to come between him and Swing Along, and on the near side Flora of Bermuda. And up to the line, Kind of Blue from Swing Along. Kind of Blue!
Our biggest total of winners, we have 59 winners, and actually I think we won as much prize money as we've won before. And it's a great thrill to have second in the Derby, and the season was sort of crowned with Kind of Blue winning the Champion Sprint at Ascot in October. So it was a really good year, and it was really consistent. Good strike rate and everything. So we've been back to zero now, and touch wood, the horses are running well.
Kind of Blue was accountable for, I think it was around 430 grand of that prize total. Even taking him out of it, and Ambient Friendly, that's still a really solid foundation level to try and kick on for this season too.
Yeah, I think, last year was a really good year. We've lost one of our main campaigners, but we've had three-year-olds win in the last 10 days. Have won the sort of competitive 3-year-old handicap, so hopefully they can progress. I think the main thing is, forget last year or next year or this year. It's all you really want is your horses to stay healthy and sound, and then they'll do their best.
And all of those horses follow in the mould that you've been going through all of your career since you started in 1990. It's not about rushing them, it's about them telling you when they're ready. And I mean, in the case of Kind of Blue, not even running till he was a 3-year-old.
Yeah, well, he had it wasn't his fault he didn't run at 2. It wasn't a lack of precocity, but he was showing last spring that he was going to be nice, and we weren't. When you're cantering away on Warren Hill, you sort of see the one in March, you're sort of seeing the ones, oh, that looks nice, and he was looking nice, and if the one you see that's looking nice goes and wins, well, you've got quite a good team if you've got anything else that can go with him. So that's what we've been looking for, and I think hopefully we've got some more strength and depth this year.
Well, he went from nice in April to electric come Champions Day. In between, what were the emotions and feelings, because you were rattling the crossbar left, right and centre?
He was one of those unfortunate ones. Well, he wasn't unfortunate because he won first time out, and then he won again, and we'd entered him in the Commonwealth Cup, and you wouldn't usually go in that deep for his third run, and I wouldn't anyway, because the owners and owner breeders, the Hoppers and the Morrises, they were keen. We were all keen to go for it, and so we did, and he ran really, really well. But then later in the year, he really came good. He ran a great race at Haydock in the Haydock Sprint Cup when he just got nailed on the line, and then he won the Champion Sprint. So it is a family that does improve with age, but I think the fact that we sort of went in quite ambitiously his third run probably just set us back a bit, and then it took him for the rest of the season to come right.
Which now puts him as one of the leading lights of the division. Where are we going to see him first? He's got entries in the Duke of York and in the Greenlands over at the Curragh. Is it more leaning to the former?
The other thing is there's also the Temple Stakes at Haydock. It's 5, but I think the main thing is the best place to get a first run into him before Ascot, because I think the early season aim is the Diamond Jubilee at Ascot.
Deacon Blue's part of the family,
Sorry, yeah,
as is the Tin Man,
yeah.
who was under the Pegasus Racing banner. What's going on with the club for the season ahead? Have you reloaded?
Yes, we have. It's always difficult because you haven't got the biggest budget, but it's a lot of fun, and it's we are fortunate enough to get the Tin Man. People make a lot of friends, and we've had quite a bit of success for limited numbers.
And an integral part of the Fred Archer success story that was the Tin Man was James's own son Tom. These days, his appearances as a work rider are few and far between, with attention turning more to the on-the-ground work.
I didn't have as much of an interest when I was away at school, but when I was about 11 years old, I got my first racing pony, and I caught the bug from there as such. And since then, I've obviously followed the racing more and more, and now it's a big passion of mine.
Must have been a handy pony.
She was. I didn't ride her very well, but she was a handy pony, and yeah, I kind of caught the bug. It was very much from the riding side to begin with, but having gone away to Australia and done a few trips away, I've got much more into the training side of things the last few years.
So what it really stuck out for you in terms of that you actually wanted to go into the business of training racehorses? You have this example everywhere around to see, but could you have seen yourself in any other part of racing?
I suppose maybe the bloodstock side. I enjoy doing the sales. Even when I went to Australia, I was very lucky to grab an opportunity working around with Paul Moroney. And you know, I'm kind of passionate about the sport in all aspects, really. So I think if I wasn't involved in the training side of things or assistant to my dad, I'd definitely be kind of looking at down that avenue. As I can spend all day looking at horses at the sales.
Some people would look at the idea of working with their dad as a living hell. You don't see it that way, thank God.
Yeah.
What is the working relationship like between you two? Did it take a few years to really bed in?
Definitely. Well, we're both quite stubborn, so no, but it's good. And I think as time's gone on, he's obviously allowed me to be quite involved, and there's little things that maybe initially when I first started doing it, I didn't have the experience in order to allow me to do things as much as maybe now. Obviously I've been as assistant for 5 years now, so there's little things that he allows me to do that has grown over time, and obviously as these things grow, you get more responsibility, and obviously that's a help for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess it's about not treading on each other's toes as well, and understanding where each person is coming from and their respective position.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously he has been doing this successfully for a very long time, so he knows exactly what he's got and the right way to place and train the horses. So obviously a lot of the time I'm just learning off him, which is great. He's a major part of the team and helps me a lot. It's a team effort. A really good season last year is a team effort, and Tom was part of that team. And you know, the other thing is, when you're in your 60s, people are still looking to the youngsters, and quite rightly, because I was young once, and so you've got to make sure you're doing doubly well. But it really helps when you've got a young fellow like Tom who's enthusiastic and the yard's doing well. So you know, hopefully it attracts more and new clients.
Do you see similarities in him as to what you were like at that age?
Oh, definitely. He's really keen. He's really keen, and he does lots of homework, and he never stops working. So, but we're very different. Okay, Frank. That's it. Okay. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Happy?
Yeah.
So you got back in black. How's he?
Very good.
The ground okay for him?
Yeah.
Ground okay there? Yeah. How's that ground, Tom? Yeah.
The inevitable question is there an appetite on both sides to eventually become a father and son partnership, like many that have cropped up over the last few years since it was introduced in the UK?
Don't take Jack out of the equation as well. You know, so we are a partnership, but what name will become what, you know, how the name changes and that sort of thing happens, you know, that time will tell. But you know, we're all, you know, it's not just James Fanshawe, it's Pegasus Stables basically, you know.
I'm not expecting anything, but I've obviously got prepared for whatever happens. I think it's good to get the modules done, but it's not a chat that we've had. But obviously being on the licence would be great, but I'm very much focused on doing what I'm doing at the moment with no real kind of plans to do anything different, and I'm sure he'll know the right time, and I won't put any pressure on. We'll just keep, hopefully that we're stable, going in the right direction, and I'm sure he'll know the right time if he ever feels there is a right time for me to take up that role. But there's no pressure on from me on that behalf.
The whole ethos of the yard is looking after your horses and looking after your staff. So I know there'd be 1 or 2 horses and 1 or 2 staff there. Didn't look after them very well, but it was and looking after your owners. So it's all those sort of 3 things, and then hopefully, providing they stay healthy and sound, you know, you've got a good yard. Even when we've sort of made the improvements to the yard, which has been a lot, We've tried to do everything to the highest level. So if you do get a good horse, you've got the facilities to train it.
But 2021 and 2022 were really tough years. The quality was not strong. I think our support was going down, and that's why we're very fortunate to have some long-standing owners that have been with us a long time, that have stuck by us, because there was a big transition, a lot of lower quality horses. So I think it was 2023 was the year we said, right, we've really got to knuckle down now and place our horses right. And although the quality wasn't that great, we had plenty of winners, which then led to getting some newer owners in the yard. When the quality's here, I think the Dad knows how to get the best out of them. So it's maintaining the quality and working hard in whichever aspect that is to ensure we have the best horses we can at Pegasus Stables.
The team here at Pegasus Stables are no strangers to giving many people a leg up to achieve their respective goals. One such example being a then young lad called Adam Kirby. 4 years later after he joined, he traded putting the work in on the gallops in the morning for saluting the judge in the afternoon. Martin Dwyer went toe-to-toe with him on many occasions, and he pays a visit to an old friend with a leading question in his arsenal.
Yet again, no Adam Kirby in the race cards. We haven't seen you in the saddle for nearly 2 years. What's been going on?
One thing come to another, and it wasn't going too good the last year, and I was struggling with a lot of things, and just decided to pull the pin and go out quietly.
So what was the main reason?
I didn't have a good horse for the year ahead, and I couldn't do the weight on a lot of horses, and I was struggling physically, to do the weight at the best of times. But then, when you haven't got live chances and you're not riding winners, it mentally got to me. So enough was enough.
Officially now, that's it. You've retired officially.
Yeah, unfortunately.
When did you realise that you weren't going to come back? How long ago?
More or less as soon as I stopped, if I'm honest.
Really?
Well, I knew nothing was going to change. I knew I'd have to go into proper starvation mode to keep the show on the road. If I'd have had a good horse, I think the year I packed up, I think I'd have probably kept going for longer, but it just wasn't to be.
Have you made peace with that?
No.
Really?
No.
So I can see already it's making you feel a bit sad.
Yeah, it is in a way. It's something that I wouldn't say I was good at it, but I was far from the worst jockey, and it just wasn't meant to be anymore.
You've always been a big lad. You've always had to work really hard at your weight. So obviously we lost the saunas. I was still riding during COVID. We lost the saunas because of COVID. I think early in 2022 they decided that the weight allowance would go and the saunas weren't brought back. Was that a big part?
Yeah, obviously I appreciated at the time it was COVID, and it was a pretty bad thing that was happening in the world at the time, and even to get racing back on track with no sauna, I thought was great as quick as they got it all back on track. And obviously we had a weight allowance, which was it was a massive help to me, but then the weight allowance stopped, and then the saunas stopped, and I just started to find it far too hard.
Do you think if the saunas were still in place now, you'd still be riding?
To be a good chance, yeah.
So just give us a flavour on a day-to-day basis when you were riding, how it was having the saunas to go to not having them, what an effect that had on your day-to-day.
Having no sauna for jockeys at the races is like being a tennis player with no tennis racket. Like, I was taking off a lot of weight. An easy day would be £5. When you have the privilege of a sauna taken away and you've got to stay dehydrated for umpteen hours before you ride, I found it very mentally hard to cope with. A lot of people don't know what a lot of jockeys go through. Not all. Some are very lucky with not a great deal of weight problems, but there'd be 80% of them are big lads, and then all of a sudden, they took our allowance away, no sauna, so you're having to take off all of that weight before you leave for the races and stay dehydrated for umpteen hours before. Like your first ride might have 9.6, but then your last ride's got 9 stone or 9.1. That's at 5 o'clock. You can't. It's mentally exhausting. You can't do it.
How do you think the managers cope now without them?
I block that out of my mind now. Obviously, it's 2 years ago since, more or less, since I stopped, and no, I feel hardly sorry for them.
I'm sure if we spoke to Jerry Hill, the BHA doctor and the BHA now, their reasoning was they didn't think it was a healthy way for jockeys to exist using a sauna every day, and the reason behind them banning them was for health and health reasons and mental health reasons. But you would disagree with that totally?
Oh, 100%. You know, I think Jerry Hill is a fantastic doctor, and I will never ever take that away from him. There was a time when I called him, not regarding me, it was actually my mum, and it was quite late on a weekend evening, and I did give him a ring for a bit of a chat and a bit of advice, and what a fantastic man he was to talk to. So obviously I appreciate that he's a fantastic doctor, but I just feel at the bottom of my heart he shouldn't have got involved in jockeys, all this, you know, mental health, and nothing to do with him. Jockeys have ways of doing things, and they should do it the way they choose to do it. You shouldn't be able to be told, you know, that you can't use a sauna. And the way that they'd done it was awful. You know, they give you a weight allowance, and then all of a sudden you were rocking up to the races, and the saunas are all been taken out. We should have had more control over that. And you know, I hate to throw things in the pot. And Dale Gibson, where was he? Where was his leadership for hundreds of jockeys taking away the main asset just because he didn't need one when he was riding? You know, he shouldn't have allowed that to happen.
I guess during that spell, I think Paul Struthers had stepped away as CEO, and the PGA were without a CEO at that time, and I'm sure Dale will say he was very busy, but I'm sure he'd be the first to admit that on this, the PGA were not strong enough. They didn't fight the jockey's corner properly enough, and once the saunas were gone, they were gone. So it's been incredibly difficult. So I guess really it's just been unfortunate for you at that stage of your career when you were absolutely flying, and then you just weren't able to manage after that. So what effect will it have on these younger jockeys coming in now who've never had a sauna? Will they maybe just not miss it because they've never had it, or are they going to have to find? I mean, I'm guessing if you're going to stage racing and ask adult athletes to get down to weights 8 stone around that, I mean, they've got to find a way of doing it somehow.
Jockeys aren't footballers. They're pound for pound athletes. So you need to be just under the weight you're riding at. And if you have no facility to lose weight at the races, you know, even if it's just 1 pound, you could lose a pound in a sauna in 10, 12 minutes. By the time you've gone in there, had a laugh and a joke, you're over the pain barrier, you've weighed out, you're on the horse.
Okay, before we move on, do you think there's anything different they could do? Maybe put the weights up drastically by, I don't know, have minimum weight at 9 stone? So is there anything, what would you do?
Obviously, if they put the weights up, it'll be a massive help to everybody. You know, there's no shadow of a doubt that, you know, 90% of jockeys are underweight. If not 100% of them are underweight. You can put the weights up. You could put the weights up a good bit. You know, I'm not saying put them up a stone, but you could put them up a good bit just to help everybody else out. You know, for me, I think the modern day jockeys coming through, they're big guys, you know. It's not like it was, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 years ago. They were like smaller.
There's not many Jimmy Quinns, are there?
There's no Jimmy Quinns. There's no Jimmy Quinns. Jimmy Quinn, bless him. But no, there's no Jimmy Quinns coming through anymore.
Harry Angel with a half furlong left to cover, 3, 4 lengths ahead. Tasleet is chasing, but he's surely chasing his shadow, and Harry Angel, a class apart, wins the 32 Red Sprint Cup.
Well, listen, it's sad that you've had to finish because of these reasons, but when we look back on your career, you rode for 20 years, and I went through some of your stats this morning. Did you ever go through your stats?
No.
Do you know how many winners you rode in the UK?
Over 1900.
Yeah, 1927. I mean, what an amazing career.
No, I was very lucky. You know, I worked for it. I didn't just went racing. You know, I was riding every day and rode a lot of horses and had a lot of support for some great people. And I'd like to thank each and every one of them. I'm not going to sit here and mention any trainer's specific name, because I'd hate for anyone, any single one of them, to feel left out.
Say what you want now, you've retired, it's great. I have a go at trainers all the time, it's brilliant.
No, listen, I think I probably have a better relationship with trainers now, because you're not, you know, I don't know, maybe I looked up at them too much, but I've still got respect for them.
Adam Kirby for a first classic success, and Dwyer is pouring on and striding clear to win the Kazoo Derby.
It's one of the biggest races in the world. You have to be a real top jockey to win a derby.
Yeah. Oh, what was yours, a Persic?
Yeah, black and white.
You then went down the fence as well, did you, if I remember?
Yeah, I had to. I got up Johnny Murtagh's inside, not many did that.
Not many would have done that. You're lucky you didn't go over with him there.
I know, but yeah.
Ben Curtis, well, I was up into the inside, so that was okay.
The wheel of fortune has spun in the most spectacular fashion for rider Adam Kirby, who rides his first classic.
So Adam, you haven't got to traipse around the motorways of the UK anymore. That must be a relief. This is now your new office. It's glorious.
Yeah, no, it's the place has come into hand. It's obviously took quite a long time to get it to some sort of standard of where we want it, but we're improving it all the time, and hopefully we can get it to where we want it soon.
So you're pre-training, pre-breaking, you do a bit of everything. You were doing this along with the last couple of years of riding, so you were building this up as you were riding.
Yeah, obviously we started very small, and you know, just gently got bigger and bigger and bigger, and hopefully we're keeping all the clients happy and the horses are all going nicely, so long may it continue.
I'm sure I read a quote from you, might have been a few years ago now, when you said you're able to communicate better with horses than people.
Yeah, I always have been able to, yeah. Yeah.
All right, before we finish, who's put more weight on, me or you?
You've definitely filled out, haven't you?
Yeah, you're taller.
No, obviously, now it's all over, we can eat and drink what we want, but
enjoy ourselves, can't we?
Be normal.
Yeah, well listen, wish you all the best. Great to catch up with you. At least I can tell the people on track that stop me now and say, where's Adam Kirby? I say he's running his empire just outside of Newmarket, and he's living a good life and happy.
I hope so.
As one racing career comes to an end, Anthony Dunkley is at the British Racing School finding out more about the new Godolphin initiative to bring young children into the sport.
Good girl, yeah, perfect, no faster. Good, how to keep those shoulders back. Good, and forwards to walk.
You should never work with children or animals. Now that's an old adage that has never applied and will never apply to the British Racing School. Now among the services on offer is the Newmarket Pony Academy, which since its inception in 2021 has been showcasing the sport to a new generation.
Back in 2019, we were looking at the work that goes on in London with the Ebony Horse Club and understanding what they were doing as part of Godolphin's charitable programme and the education initiatives we support. We thought, gosh, if this is going on in London, what is there here in Newmarket for the young people to actually interact with the ponies, to start to learn a little bit more about them? And that's when we came up with the idea of creating something along those lines, but more of a schools programme. And very fortunate to have had relationships with the British Racing School before, had the conversations with them, and Andrew Braithwaite, who's now the Chief Executive, came straight on board and said, yes, let's see what we can do. We need to find ways to make horses, ponies relevant to the young people, and this was creating that opportunity for, even here in Newmarket, although they're surrounded by horses, everything that goes on, the options to actually interact with them are so limited. There's just not those opportunities. So we did the pilot, we thought, yes, this is gold, so let's make a go of it, and we were able to launch the following June.
We're Monday to Friday, and we go and pick the children up from their school. On the first day they arrive, we sort of do introductions, find out a little bit about the children, and then we kit them out with PPE. So we have a sort of broad range of hats, boots, body protectors, loads of different sizes. We give them some PPE and a t-shirt to keep for the week. T-shirt, in fact, they get to take home, they keep it forever and ever. And we then go out and meet the ponies. So straight away we go and meet the ponies, and we're hands-on, grooming, tying them up, just sort of getting the children used to being around the ponies, because most of them won't have ever been up close, touched a pony. Some of them perhaps won't have even seen a pony. So we want to kind of get straight in. Any fear, any sort of nerves, we squash pretty quickly. And then once we've finished grooming, they have a short break, and then we're riding straight away on the first day. So again, most of them won't have ever ridden before. We have a fantastic team of volunteers that come and lead the ponies. And day one, we're sort of getting them used to stopping, getting them used to asking their pony to walk on. Just talking to them about how we sort of communicate with our pony. Then in the afternoon, they sort of learn about tack, a saddlery, why we have these things on our ponies when we're riding them. And then the Tuesday they come in, and it's mucking out day, which some of them love, actually, bizarrely enough. Some of them love it, some of them think, oh God, really?
So it's like an intensive driving course,
yes,
but with ponies?
Definitely, yeah. We are cramming sort of everything you could possibly imagine into 1 week. And we're, certainly from the riding perspective, when we sort of say to people, oh yeah, they're kind of rising to the trot by the Thursday, they're sort of like, you can't be serious, that's like unimaginable. But some of them get it really quickly, others sort of not so much. But the point being, we are putting them through their paces. They really are having to kind of grasp new concepts, but also it's a totally different, it's something they've never done before. They're really having to, they're all in the same boat, I think, is what is great. For those that perhaps are less academic or not sporty, whatever it is, everybody for once is on a totally even playing field. Nobody's done it before. They're all kind of trying to get through it together. It's about changing attitudes, giving them an understanding. They start to appreciate how well these horses are cared for, because they don't know how they're looked after, the amazing veterinaries, farriers, everything that's on call for a horse. They start to see a little bit of that when they're here and understand about it, so they see the care these horses are given throughout their lives.
I'm just like cleaning Henry.
Yeah, do you know why we have to give them a brush? Do you know why we're grooming him?
Why?
Why? Yeah, why have we got to brush him?
Like, to keep him clean and to get all this dirty fur away.
Definitely. Do you think Henry likes being brushed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does Delilah like being brushed as well?
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a charitable endeavour, and it's Godolphin, a mightily powerful organisation, but it's not just them dipping their toe in. A lot of people have put their hands in the pockets.
Been really fortunate with the amount of funders we've been able to bring involved. The Sir Peter S. Sullivan Trust were one of our founding funders when we first started. Cheveley Park, the Thompson Charitable Trust very generously bought us a minibus, so that it enabled us to go and collect the children from school and take them back at the end of the day, because transport is often a prohibitive problem for the schools. They haven't got the funding, so that was enormously beneficial, because we wanted to make it easy. In those early days, as you said, how did we sell it to schools? So the easier we could make it, the more opportunity we had to bring more young people here. Recently we've had MDC Jenks Charitable Foundation have come on board as well, and local community people who are very generously funding us as well. And we've got Newmarket Charitable Foundation with the help from Rossdale's and Newmarket Equine Hospital. And Tattersalls have also supported. So the industry has come behind the programme. They've seen the benefits, and they've come and they've been here. They'll be able to bring people up here and showcase it to them. You get someone up here, they just love it. And we've been really fortunate in the way everyone's pulled together to help us keep it running.
Okay, right. Good boy, up you come. You have your reins in the left hand, that's it. That hand at the front. 1, 2, 3, over we go. Beautiful. I like your stirrups. Have you got the other one? Can you do it? Yeah? Good boy. Do you remember how to hold your reins?
Yeah.
So that's it for the latest edition of This Racing Live. Thank you to everyone who opened their doors to us this week, the Fanshawes, Adam Kirby and the Newmarket Pony Academy. We will see you again next week, but for now, bye-bye.
This Racing Life with Albasti Equiworld. the leading supplier of horse feeds and supplements.